It's hard to make a deep game. For our purposes, we'll define a deep game as a complex game whose complexity is worth it and meaningful. You might recognize the names of some of the deepest games: Deus Ex, Space Station 13, Dwarf Fortress. There have been many attempts since the release of these titles to replicate their rich complexity, but in the end many of these successors have lacked essential qualities of success. Often these projects are run by great teams and have promising followings. In the Space Station 13 community, people failing to meet this challenge is called the curse of Space Station 13 development, but I believe the pitfalls of developing Space Station 13 apply to all deep game development. Why are these types of games so hard to do right, and what can we do to give ourselves the best chance of success in making one ourselves? To start our exploration, we're going to look at what you can do to make sure that you fail, to illustrate the insidious traps that lay ahead. Hey guys, it's the Next Guy, and today we're talking about the ways to fail at making a deep game. You'd begin by setting out to make a AAA art style, increasing the time it takes for content to be created, on top of requiring several disciplines to pull off. There's a reason games have you generically swing at items you interact with, rather than modeling the exact hand-on-door animations. It's because it's expensive and time-consuming to model it correctly. There are game developers at the studio Naughty Dog who have spent so much time working on door handle animations that they squeeze several news articles out of it in a whole GDC talk. Why go with the simplicity of Dwarf Fortress ASCII graphics when you could chaperone Ellie's hands around a door handle all day? We want to turn the graphical fidelity up as high as it goes, so the time it takes to complete a feature takes as long as it takes to make a whole game. By the time we get sweat beads to drip correctly, our audience will no doubt still be waiting for us at the finish line. No doubt. You want to please everyone, right? You can begin your path to disappointing them by promising to add everything. Steam users tend not to leave the genre they pick, strategy gamers choose their colony sims, and social players stay in their guilds. We can ignore this fact and try to please literally every type of player. We're making a deep game, right? It will be deep in literally every aspect. Then we can add logic that grows exponentially. Dwarf Fortress is famously single-threaded. You need a computer cooled by Arctic tundra to survive a siege in-game. Stellaris had to rework itself several times so that players could actually see the in-game content before performance degraded to the point of unplayability. But we're the game design elite. We don't have to care what low-end plebeians who still use the original iPhone experience, or that it takes 10 hours to download our game. Then you'd plan to make absolutely everything yourself.
After all, why not? Why shouldn't I?
Make every aspect of the game myself.
It's mine.
I am not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you.
Complete your game.
Our previous point was about relying too much on outside specialists like door animators. Now, instead, we'll isolate ourselves completely. You might consider excluding willing player creators. To really botch this step, you might disallow contribution through modding, make the fun parts of contributing to your game private, have no contribution guidance or standards, or use tools or programming languages that nobody knows. Better yet, roll everything yourself. Many game development suites, like Godot or Unity, have thriving developer scenes that get in the way. Besides being able to rely on others to help you with coding issues, they serve as helpful encouragement and as would-be collaborators that no doubt will just lead you astray. Next, you'd plan to hard code every single system in the game. Feature-rich games have, well, a lot of features. Game engines like Unity incentivize developers to utilize an entity composition or inheritance approach, where game objects are stacks of standard packages of data and behavior. But we can't have that. In the same ways that we forewent player contribution and developer collaboration, we must also make sure that even our files can't contribute to one another. Let's not forget social isolation. Only you could make something so deep and awesome. Friends and colleagues are for the weak. You have a massive content mountain to climb, and you're better off doing it all on your own. I hope you now feel alone, daunted, and have hired a squadron of door animators you can't afford, because making a deep game is hard, and you're going to need every trick in the book. But to play it straight, let's invert the above advice. We can make a deep game by using simple assets that scale well and interact in reusable ways. We target a niche of players and develop content in concert with our fans, colleagues, and support network. These videos are a part of a series exploring why so many games fail to recreate Space Station 13 and Dwarf Fortress. It seems like everyone was giving it a try, and failing almost immediately in utter surprise. This kind of missing knowledge in the game development community was really bothering me, and in this series, we're going to figure out every last thing. I hope you will find it all valuable. Next, we're going to look at what we can do to shortcut these calamitous tendencies. If you'd like this video as much as the next guy, hit that like button.